Returning to the Nancy Guthrie disappearance, more on the purported ransom note and the $6 million in Bitcoin, which was apparently due at 5 p.m. Time zone unclear, according to TV station K-Gun. Now, officials have not authenticated it. They have been taking it seriously. Mrs. Guthrie's daughter, Savannah, made no mention of that deadline in her video this afternoon, but said we are at an hour of desperation. CNN's Randy Kay looks at how ransom demands have played a role in other cases over the years.
The day after Christmas, 1996, a ransom note is discovered in John Benet Ramsey's house.
The note was lying across the 3 pages across the run of one of the stair treads. And I started to read it. It said, "We have your daughter." And I immediately ran back upstairs and pushed open her door, and she was not in her bed.
The note says, quote, "If you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions. It demands $118,000. The kidnappers say they represent a small foreign faction and sign it SBTC. The letter was a ruse. Jean Benet was already dead. Her killer or killers have never been identified." Decades earlier, in 1960, Adolph Coors III, heir to the Coors Brewing Company fortune, is kidnapped in Colorado. The ransom demand, $200,000 in 10s and $300,000 in 20s. The ransom note tells Mrs. Coors to contact the kidnapper about the money by placing an ad in the Denver Post for a tractor in Section 69. She does that, but never hears back. Authorities trace it all to a man named Joseph Corbett Jr., who had escaped prison in California. In September 1960, Mr. Coors' remains are found. His killer, Corbett, is later caught in Canada, convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. When newspaper heiress Patty Hearst is kidnapped in 1974,
Patty, still screaming, was dragged out to a waiting car and thrown into a trunk.
Her captors, who identify themselves as the Symbionese Liberation Army, send a ransom note demanding the release of 2 recently arrested members. Then California Governor Ronald Reagan denies that, which leads to a new demand, a multi-million-dollar food giveaway for the poor. Still, Patty is not released.
We love you, Patty, and we're all praying for you.
Soon, she's caught on camera participating in robberies with the radical group. She's arrested nearly 2 years later and sent to prison. In what many consider the crime of the century, the kidnapping of famed aviator Charles Lindbergh's son, there were 13 ransom notes in all.
The little boy was kidnapped from his second-floor bedroom. Left behind was a crudely written ransom note that demanded $50,000 for the return of the child.
The ransom notes warn against contacting police. Riddled with spelling errors, they read, "After 2 to 4 days, we'll inform you where to deliver the money." Months later, the boy is found dead. A man named Bruno Hauptmann, eventually executed for his murder. His conviction partially secured based on handwriting analysis from all those ransom notes. Randy Kay, CNN.
Well, that's it for us. The news continues. I'll see you tomorrow night. The Source with Caitlin Collins starts now.
We start with breaking news tonight because we are now in day 9 of the search for Nancy Guthrie, with authorities making clear tonight they have no major leads as of this moment. The FBI is now seeking the public's help in the search for the Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mom, issuing a direct appeal tonight that says someone has that one piece of information that can help us bring Nancy home. The FBI also adding in this new statement tonight that they are not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and the suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time. It is a remarkable statement this many days in, and it shows just how much this search is very much still underway tonight. It also comes as we are hearing from Savannah Guthrie herself, making a similar call to action more than a week after her mom went missing from her Tucson home. In a new video that was posted online today, the Today Show anchor described this as her family's hour of desperation.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
2 hours have now passed since that final deadline that was set in that still unverified ransom note that was sent shortly after Guthrie disappeared. And according to our CNN affiliate, KGUN, which is one of the 3 outlets that got that first note, the person, or people here, demanded $6 million in Bitcoin by 5 p.m. local time today and threatened Nancy Guthrie's life if that deadline was not met. Now, this evening, neither the authorities in Arizona nor the Guthrie family have confirmed that any ransom has been paid. Of course, the horrific ultimatum appears to have led the Guthrie family, though, to tell whoever it is that has their mom that they would be willing to do so. A second unverified note related to Guthrie's disappearance was sent to a Tucson news station last week. One of the anchors who read that second note that I spoke with on Friday night said it did not appear to be a ransom note, that there was no demand explicitly that was made in that letter. A day later, the Guthrie family acknowledged that they had gotten a message.
We received your message, and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
My lead source tonight got the initial unverified ransom note for Nancy Guthrie. TMZ founder Harvey Levin is here. And thank you, Harvey, for being here. Because, I mean, when you read this new FBI statement tonight, it's very lengthy. But the line that stood out to me was them saying they're not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, and that they don't have a suspect or a person of interest in this case. And just given that you got the first unverified ransom note, I wonder what you make of that statement tonight.
Well, I think it aligns with Savannah Guthrie's desperate plea today. We checked this Bitcoin address because in the first note, they give this Bitcoin address to send the money. And we have been checking it all day long. You would be able to see if money was deposited. We are not seeing anything deposited. So when I watched Savannah Guthrie talk today, it felt like figuratively a Hail Mary, saying we are getting nowhere with these alleged kidnappers and we need the public's help. If they paid the money, I will tell you this, Caitlin, the letter says that if they pay the money, Nancy would be returned within 12 hours of the time they receive payment, returned to Tucson. So you would think that if they paid it and everything was working properly, they would be biting their nails but not saying anything publicly. It's almost as if everything just collapsed and they are just begging the public because they are not in contact with the kidnappers. The only part of this that I'm thinking maybe they did pay money is in that second ransom note. The reporter from KOLD said that it wasn't a ransom note. It's possible that there is a new Bitcoin address on that. I have no idea, but that's the only way money could have been paid where we wouldn't be seeing it, because in the ransom note that we have, we've been checking that link and we're not seeing it.
Yeah. Did that original note say that if the family did pay, how they would confirm that they had gotten the money?
No, it does not say that. It's very direct to the point, and they made it clear. I'll even read this to you. It says, it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. And so, now it's been a week. And they've gone back and forth with proof of life and all that. And I do think there was something cryptic about Savannah talking about celebrating with their mother. It's almost as if maybe in that second note, they did show some kind of proof of life and the word celebrate was used because otherwise it's out of context. but it is direct to the point. They don't talk about how they will acknowledge payment. They just are saying, send it to this Bitcoin address. And presumably, if they did, these people would see that the money was deposited.
I imagine you probably have reread that initial note a million times since you got it. I mean, just especially given it's been so long now and still no major leads tonight. Has anything stood out to you in hindsight, given now what you've heard from Savannah and from her siblings, when you look at that again?
Yes. It is a very well-written note. It is structured properly. The grammar is perfect. This is somebody who is intelligent. And somebody who is tech savvy for sure, because this seems untraceable. And so our IT team has been looking. I know the FBI obviously has been looking, and they haven't been able to find who sent this. That seems to be what they're saying today when they say no suspect, no person of interest. So to me, this is somebody in the Tucson area, because why else would they be sending these notes to two local television stations in Tucson? And they seem to have a connection there. They would send it to NBC if they're from, I don't know, New York. You would send it to Savannah Guthrie's employer, NBC. But they are really focused. I know they sent the first one to us, but they're focused on these television stations in Tucson. So to me, it stands to reason somebody in that area. And I can tell you, it's definitely somebody within a 700-mile radius, because the note says that we will return her within 12 hours of receiving payment, and that's 700 miles. So I think it's somebody in the Tucson area. So to me, it's sort of like, who's gone MIA, who's really intelligent and tech savvy, over the last week, unless it's some left turn that nobody knows. That would seem to me to be at least some, tenable clue.
Has the FBI reached it back out to you? I mean, they've gone back to Nancy Guthrie's home multiple times. We saw them looking in the septic tank over the weekend. Have they reached back out to y'all with any follow-up questions?
No, they called us a couple hours after we received the note, and they had a lot of questions. And I brought my IT team over to the phone because I couldn't answer a lot of them. They were very technical, but nobody got anywhere during the call, and that's the last we heard of them from them.
And I've got a team full of experts here as well. Our CNN chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst, John Miller, is here. Our legal analyst, Joey Jackson, and also the vice president of intelligence at Sentinel-1, Juan Andres Guerrero Sade, who is a cybersecurity expert. We're going to call him Jags tonight. Thank you for being here. John Miller, we've spoken every day since Nancy Guthrie's been missing. When you see this lengthy and new FBI statement that comes out tonight, 9 days in, saying no major leads, I mean, what's your reaction when you read that statement tonight?
My reaction is that the FBI is bouncing off of Savannah Guthrie's statement to support it by saying it may appear to people who are watching this on television news that there's a ransom demand and there's a Bitcoin drop, and that they got this new note with special instructions, and they say, we got your message and we understand, and that somewhere behind some curtain there's a smooth transfer going on of money, and that Nancy Guthrie is being released, and this is all happening quietly and nobody needs to get involved. The Guthrie statement and the FBI statement both say everybody needs to be on the lookout. We need those tips. We basically are saying we don't know if these people are who they say they are or if they really have her. And we don't want people who may know something, who thought they knew something and then said, well, I'm not going to come forward because it looks like this is all working out, to not come forward. And the FBI goes further. They say there's that one person out there who knows. And I think what they're talking about, and we find this in a lot of cases, just to close, is there's that accomplice who decided not to join the plot. There's that accomplice who didn't like it and walked off the plot. There's that girlfriend or spouse or roommate or brother who actually knows what's going on, and they are pushing them to come forward with a tip as to the who and the where and what's real.
Well, John, can I also ask you, what do you think of what Harvey just said there, that and it's still unverified, so I just want to make that clear to everyone. I know we've said that day in and day out, but just to reiterate, but when he says that it was a well-structured note that they got, good grammar, someone intelligent, he believes, from reading it, and he's read it a couple times, and also that they said that she would be returned to the Tucson area within 12 hours. Do you agree that that means this is someone in that 700 square mile radius, potentially?
It could be, but I mean, when you get down to the things that are closers on these deals, you know, did they come up with a proof of possession to show they really had her? If so, we haven't heard that. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. Did they proffer an actual proof of life to show that she is still alive and well and that they can produce her? We haven't heard that either. Was it a well-written note both times? Yeah, we are dealing with someone who's tech savvy, and Jags will get into that, and sophisticated, but we also may be dealing with someone who just put it through ChatGPT to make sure that it didn't have their personal touches on it, to disguise it further and to make it clearer.
I had the same thought about using AI here potentially to try to kind of remove anything on that. I mean, and Jags, to that point, I think that is the question of, you know, Harvey mentioned they've been monitoring the Bitcoin address that they got. He says the initial one, there's no payment been made. Just looking at all of this, what stands out to you tonight?
I mean, the difficult thing here, and as you mentioned, is sort of unverified, but without seeing any movement on the Bitcoin wallets themselves, we're just sort of staring at a static target, right? If the wallet's been used before, if it has some kind of history, then we could work with that. If there's a transaction, then there's movement on the ledger and we can sort of work with some of that. But in the meantime, it's sort of staring at just a static target of not knowing just what kind of actions the criminals would take once the money reaches the wallets.
And there's I mean, as you noted last week, it's not untraceable, as some people might suspect. You can trace it, it's just anonymous, and you don't know who it is that's technically running it. Or to Harvey's point, there could be a new Bitcoin address that was provided in a subsequent letter.
Yeah, I mean, the difficulty here is essentially we can see everything. The whole ledger is completely traceable. The difficulty is going to be determining who actually owns the wallet. And what's usually important in these investigations, my team at SentinelOne, when we work on ransomware, what you want to see is essentially once the money gets to the criminal's account, to the wallet, how do they cash it out? They're going to need to be able to transfer that somehow into real currency. Otherwise, you know, what's the point of committing the crime? And that's usually where you see either a level of sophistication that entails that these people know how to do these movements, that they've done them before, or perhaps level of amateurness.
Yeah. Joey Jackson, I mean, you look at this, it's now 4 videos that the Guthrie family has posted. Every single one of them is just difficult to watch and heartbreaking because you can hear the pain in their voice about their mom. When you look at this from your perspective, with 9 days, no suspects, no major suspects, according to the FBI tonight, and now they're asking the public to please help. What does that tell you?
Oh, well, it could tell me a couple of things. The first thing it could tell me, Caitlin, is that certainly the public is a wealth of information, right? People have neighbors. We don't live in isolation. People have certain movements. We expect certain patterns from other people around us. And so certainly if you keep your ears to the pavement and you know movements, perhaps there is someone out there who could be helpful. The public, we know, is a major partner, and they essentially, in many instances, give information to law enforcement that could be really game-changing. The other thing is law enforcement not telling us everything or misleading the public in some way such that they're lulling this person or these people into a false sense of reality by giving the indication that they don't know where these people are, but potentially they may know more than they're suggesting to us. The other thing, Caitlin, is that there is reason to hope. At the end of the day, look at what they want. If the motivation is money, they know and understand, or he or she knows and understands, that in the event they do something to the mom, there will be no money. And therefore, would it not be in their interest to continue to keep her and keep her safe? And the final thing I'll say, Caitlin, is that, listen, the most intelligent and the brightest amongst us make mistakes. Was there a mistake in the planning? Was there a mistake in the execution? Was there some other mishap that they can make or did make right, that the police are onto or that they can grab such they can break this case open. So, when I think about it, when we talk about, hey, the mom needs this medication, did they plan that far out that they know this? Did they plan that far out that they have whatever life-sustaining medication she needs on hand? I don't know. But the fact is if they want $6 million, they're going to take every precaution to get it. And if they harm the mom in any way or don't keep her safe, that's a lost proposition. And so that continues to give me hope.